and we'll get started together. So good evening, everybody. I'm so glad you guys came out Saturday evening from your busy schedules and to meet with us. This is a Natural Remedies Weekend in Watsonville. And tonight is part one. It's going to be on colds, coughs, and congestions. And my friend Louise, who's obviously a little short, she's going to step up. There we go. Louise and I are going to tag team. She's got a beautiful display here, lovely things she's going to be introducing, and I'm going to follow up on the end with some practical, fun little remedies that we're going to share. And we do want to make sure everybody gets a handout tonight. So we do like to help pass this out. And then this is also our schedule for the weekend. Tonight, we're meeting at 6:30. And then tomorrow, it's going to be 2:30 and again at 6:30. And so we're going to be talking about wound care tomorrow. And this is, Louise is going to carry the heavy load with that tomorrow too. She's got some great information and handouts that she's going to be sharing with us. And so let's go ahead and get started, and then Louise will just walk us through our handouts tonight as she leads us in our activities. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And
it's my pleasure to be here.
Should we start with a word of prayer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so pray and then you can pray if you want. We'll just do a double take together. So.
Okay, go for it.
Father God, thank you so much that we're able to be here tonight and learn of your natural remedies. We know that you've given us the herbs for the service of mankind. And so we're going to participate and share some of the things that we've learned with each other that we can go out and share with others. So thank you for being with us tonight. We just ask that you fill us with your spirit and your wisdom. Thank you in Jesus' name.
Amen. Father, just to linger but a moment, everything that is set before us, it came from your garden. You are the number one. You are the physician, the master, the creator of everything that we have, everything that we know. So, Father, we just invite your Holy Spirit here to watch over this process, and that it may be received warmly, and that our eyes may be open to understanding exactly what it is that we need in order to maintain health. And it's in Christ Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right.
So, thank you, Trish.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There is a gentleman here. My name is Louise Harvey, and I am here to show a few things of what God's great kitchen can offer. So since we've already opened in with the word of prayer there, I will say that everything that we have here, everything that we do, nothing is meant to diagnose, to treat serious injuries or illnesses. If you are under the direction of a physician, please consult that person before trying anything. Because even though sometimes we believe that, oh, it's natural, or we eat it anyway, some natural remedies, the combination of them can potentially interfere with medications that you may be on. So, for instance, if you are on a blood thinner, you don't want to eat a lot of garlic because garlic is a natural blood thinner. So this is why I say it's very, very important to talk to your healthcare provider to find out if this is something that is going to be good for you. So, how do I know that this is part of God's medicine cabinet? I know because my Bible tells me so. In Psalms 103, and you don't have to go there if you don't want to, It says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who heal all thy diseases." So if he's healing all of our diseases, that means that he has to know what we need, what's making us sick, okay? Then there is my favorite, 3 John 2. It says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers." So we are feeling good today. That means that we are prospering. So he wants us to be in good health. He mentions health in the Bible. So for me, God said it, I believe it, and as far as I'm concerned, that settles it. The other thing is that in Genesis 1:29, he says, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food." So what we have here are all of the different things that God has placed upon this earth for the betterment of our health. Now, do we just run off and start eating everything? No. You have to put combinations together, and that's where we come in that we have read a lot, we have researched some other stuff, we don't know everything, but we do know a couple of things, and we understand the combination. So tonight we are talking about the disclaimer. We're talking about common colds and flu, and understanding that they can mirror each other, the common cold and the flu. Cough will be with the cold, and it can also be with the flu. And I need to step back, there we go. I got to be a little bit in proximity to my notes. I have that mature eyesight, okay? And working on the remedy for that one. Anyway, so the common cold and the flu, it can often mirror each other. The cough is always a part of it too. So with the common cold, colds are general inflammation of the mucous membrane of the respiratory passages, and that is on your handout that we passed out. So that's some good information to take home. And the symptoms can include nose and throat irritations, watery eyes, fever, headache, chills, muscle aches, and temporary loss of smell and taste. A heavy cold may take the form of acute or chronic infections such as grippy tonsillitis, sinusitis, bronchial catarrh, chronic cold, or similar type viruses. So how do we know the difference between cold and fever? If you have a headache, that is prominent in the flu. I'm sorry, let me back up. How do we know that we have, what's the difference between cold and flu? I just want to make sure I'm saying that appropriately. The headache is prominent with the flu, but it's kind of rare with the cold, okay? Fever is frequent and sudden in the flu, but rare in the cold. Fatigue, extreme in the flu and can last 2 to 3 weeks. There is only mild fatigue with the cold. General aches, common and severe in the flu, slight in the cold. Runny nose, occasionally in the flu, but is very common with the cold. So cough, that is common with the flu and can become severe, only mild to moderate in the cold. And sore throat, sometimes with the flu, but common with the cold. So that's just a little information there. The first thing that we want to do, what is the first thing we want to do when we start feeling bad? When we start feeling like, or the eyes start itching, or we start coughing, what's the first thing we want to do?
Hydrate.
Drink water.
Actually, the first thing we want to do is run to the store, get an antihistamine. If our nose is feeling a little stuffy, we want to run to the store and get an antihistamine. We want to run to the store and get some NyQuil. We want to run to the store. We want to run to the store and take all of the pharmaceuticals that are on the market, as many of them as we can get away with, because we don't like feeling sick, right? However, the very first thing, very important thing in either situation, is we have to remember, start getting some fluids within us. Whenever congestion goes to the chest, it is a sign that the cold is becoming worse. And disease is the effort of nature to free the systems of conditions that results in a violation of the laws of health. Okay? That came from Ministry of Healing, which is my go-to resource. And I highly recommend this book, even though it was written back in, I think it was 1905, by a lady by the name of Miss Ellen G. White. She talks about viruses in here before viruses was ever discovered in the medical community, in the healthcare community. It wasn't until the early 60s that science began to understand viruses and even named it. But she has it in here, although she's not calling it virus, she still has it in here. So I highly recommend a good read, long but good read, because there's a lot of useful information. So whenever we get sick, we are designed to heal ourselves, okay? In that the body knows what to do. We don't have to really do anything. We just sit back and the body will start doing it for us, if we are willing to listen to our bodies. Now, some may ask, what are the laws of health? Okay, the laws of health is nutrition. And actually, let me back up. The laws of health. Well, we don't have to worry about what is this laws of health. We don't know anything about laws of health. Who says we got to go by the laws of health? Or either, I've even heard some people say, the laws of health, I'm not really into religion, so that's not for me. But actually, every living being on the planet is under the laws of health. You have no choice. You have to have nutrition, right? If you don't have food, what's going to happen? Sooner or later, you'll succumb and you'll die. You have to exercise. If you don't exercise, what happens? Your muscles start atrophying and you become kind of feeble, right? You have to have water. Name me a living thing on this planet that doesn't need water. At some point. I can never think of one, but I'm looking for it. What about sunshine? If we didn't have sunshine, what would happen to our planet?
It would
We'd be
freeze.
in a deep freeze.
All the plants would die.
All the
Everything
plants would die. If all the plants died, then what would happen? We would shortly after that demise as well. So, sunshine, temperance, okay. There, I was listening to a sermon by Mr. Mark Finley, and he was talking about how people in various different cultures, how they work to engorge themselves. They would actually, way back in the day, chefs would prepare these enormous meals, banquets, if you will. And the people, upper crust people who could afford it, they would just take it all in and eat and eat and eat and eat until they almost passed out. Then they would leave and go into a room, and they would have these basin bowls, very luxurious, thinking that throwing up in a fancy bowl is très chic, I don't know. But they would take a feather and then they would tickle the back of their throat so that they could throw up, so that they could go back and that they can eat some more. And that's why if you look back into history, a lot of like French provincial, all of the big higher up people have always been, kind of porked out a bit. And that's not a good thing. So everything we do should be in temperance. Instead of having the whole pizza, just have a couple of small slices and put the rest away for later. You can take one pizza, and I don't advocate cheese, but there are vegetable cheeses and that sort of thing. You can take one pizza and you can stretch it out for a couple of days, a couple of meals, hence saving money. Okay, so temperance. What about air? Is there anything living on this planet that cannot have air? Okay, what about rest? You gotta have rest. The young man in Japan who spent days gaming and drinking energy drinks, he died of a heart attack within like 9-10 days, something like that. That's crazy nuts. So we should always have refreshing rest, always, at least 8 or more hours every day. Okay, every night I should say. And what's really good is to try and crack your window, have some kind of circulation going on in your room. Try not to have a television in your room because that can take your mind off of the matter at hand, and that is to have refreshing rest so that you can get up and be ready to go. And the other thing, trust in God. Now, that's where a lot of people say, I'm really not into the religion thing. Well, in this world, in our society, you're either for God or you're not. Okay? If you're not for God, that means you're for everything else. And everything else, we know what is in everything else. We see it every day in the movies, and we're always taught about good and evil, good and evil, good and evil. If you're not hanging out with good, what are you hanging out with? It may not seem evil at the time, but God does say the wages of sin is death. So, moving on. Now, so those are the laws of health, okay? But moving on, there are many different types of therapies. We're talking about colds, coughs, and flus. There are many different types of therapies which can be used. Most important thing, though, to remember is water. Water and plenty of it. If you discover you have the flu, separate yourselves from other people because the flu is highly contagious. You can spread it by coughing, okay? You can spread it sneezing, okay? You can spread it by not washing your hands and touching someone that you did something. And kids are notorious. They're little germ factories. As cute as they are, as adorable as they, to see our little offsprings running around is wonderful, but they are little germ factories. And they will, with the hand, or that's a real good one, when the snot is coming there and they do like that. To me, that's cute, even though it's nasty, but it's cute to see that. So, if you think that you have the flu, it is a type of influenza, and you want to try and separate yourself as best as possible from those around you, loved ones, or even what you can do is put a mask on. And in our society today, it's not uncommon. It used to be, why they got a mask on? Ew. But nowadays, with all of the different environmental issues, wearing a mask is quite acceptable. And especially if you go to China, you'll see every other person has a mask on because the pollution is so great. Why is the pollution so great over there? Because of manufacturing. Everything we use is manufactured there, and they're getting the fallout of all of that. And so wear the mask if possible. And the strains of influenza are so changing all the time until it's very difficult to get a vaccine to keep up with the different types of strains of influenza. So a lot of times the flu shot or the vaccine for influenza is not very effective because some people say, oh, I took the shot and I still got the flu. Well, I don't take the shot. This is my shot, okay? And I've not been sick in quite some time. I did have a little sniffle or what have you a couple of years ago, but it wasn't anything that I was in bed for 3 to 5 days or 5 to 10 days or what have you. This, to me, is the best route to go. If it doesn't work and I keep getting sicker, then yes, I need to seek some medical attention, okay? So, a few suggestions for colds and cough. Peppermint tea, in which I have peppermint tea here, and this is bulk form. If you buy bulk form, you need something to put it in order to make a cup of tea with it. okay? But peppermint is a very, 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 oh, I can't say it enough. It fights headaches, fatigue, congestion, fever, muscle aches, soreness, sinus problems, to mention a few. Peppermint is one of the herbs and oils that was used back in biblical times. Yes, it's a very good, interesting discovery. So peppermint is one of them. Catnip tea. Now, most people say, why would I want to take catnip tea? Catnip, that's for cats. Believe it or not, catnip tea, and this is how it looks, catnip tea is very soothing. It's very relaxing, and it can help calm your state, your emotional state. It also can help with sinus issues. It can help with fatigue, because it'll also kind of give you a little uplift, but again, in bulk form. So if you buy bulk, you get some of these, or they have so many different types of steepers that are on the market. Or I have found, and my box is really beat up, but I found these bags, which they're all natural tea filters. And I've got like 100 of them or so. And you just open up the little baggie and spoon in, close up, steep in water. It works really well, and it saves a lot of money because, and I'm coming to this one, a box of tea can run you anywhere from, what, $3, $4? Yeah, it can go really expensive, and so you want to just be careful when you are getting teas. You want to make sure that they are organic, and that there is the certification. The other thing you want to look for, there's a little kosher sign, and you want to make sure that your teas are natural. If you see a kosher sign, and there's quite a few different ones, and you can Google kosher signs and a whole slew of them will come up. And you look for those symbols, and that lets you know that you are getting the real deal, okay? This happens to be organic ginger root. It is invigorating, caffeine-free. We definitely do not want to bring in stimulants, because stimulants into a cold or the flu, it'll make you feel worse. Okay, so you want calming, soothing things. The organic ginger root, that's good for sore throat. Okay, it's very good for sore throat. Doesn't taste very good, I don't think. You can try a little bit of the Manuka honey, which Manuka honey is another very good natural remedy to help bathe the throat if you are having a sore throat. It also helps to break up phlegm if you have chest congestion that way. So all of your different types of teas there's the ginger, it's echinacea, licorice root tea, golden seal tea. You can also, vitamin C is very, very good that you should start taking in. Even the echinacea, whenever you start to feel a little fatigue, start boosting up on your vitamin C. Your vitamin B12, that's another thing to help boost your energy. And of course, like I said, the echinacea. When you are using the licorice root tea, be very careful to not steep it too long, because it can act as a stimulant, a laxative. And so you don't want, the last thing you want to do is have the flu or a cold, and then you have diarrhea on top of it. That's not. So just be careful. Steeping it maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Try not to do any longer than the 3 to 5 minutes on that, okay? Your golden seal tea, that's another one that is very good, and I don't have any golden seal tea. However, I do have the orange, ginger orange tea, which is very good as well. And it's got some strange looking little properties in there, but still in all, it is really good. This Type of tea, I would steep about maybe 10, 15 minutes. Who in here knows how to properly steep tea? Okay.
That would be
You
enough.
would, I was not going to make you stand in the corner if you, if you didn't know.
When you
The-
said properly, then it's like, okay.
Okay, we know to take a mug, right, and put hot water in it. We got the tea bag and we're done it like that, and then we wrap it around the spoon with the thumb, squeezing it, and then toss the bag, right? That's not properly steeping tea. What you do is you get your water boiling, rapid boiling, and that is usually, boiling water is 270 degrees hot, okay? So you want to put that in your cup. Then you want to take your tea bag or your steeper, your holder, and you drop it down into the cup. Then you tightly cover the lid and let it bathe for at least 10 minutes. After that, you remove it and you can drink the tea. You have all of the flavor, nothing has escaped. You have all of the healing properties of the tea. You also have, it's cool enough that you can possibly drink it at that point, but you also have the oils that are in the tea. So you want to make sure, if you are feeling poorly, that the teas are properly steeped. Even if you're not feeling bad, always remember to properly steep your tea, okay? Because you want, it's no use in doing it, drinking the tea, if all you're doing is drinking flavored water. What properties are you getting? What healing properties are you getting? So you always want to make sure, and especially when you're sick, you want the entire process of the tea, the herb, the benefits of the herb. Get it out there sooner or later. So, also raw juices, vegetables, okay, a vegetable diet, potato peeling broth. Who in here has had potato peelings? Yeah, did you know you can make a broth out of it?
I don't want potato soup.
Well,
I like eating the whole potato.
yeah, see, I myself, I don't like to eat the skin on the potato if I'm like eating it that way. But if I'm like really seriously sick, I will stop, and I have made potato peeling broth. And how you do it, you scrub your potato really good so that you get all the little funkies off and the little dirt, and then you just peel it, okay? You put it into your pot, and you put some vegetable broth on it, preferably organic, vegetable broth on it. You can use a little bit of cayenne, because cayenne is really good at helping to break up mucus, and it helps to calm coughs as well. Don't want to put too much because it might be too hot for you, okay? So you can also put just a little bit of salt, not a lot of salt. Try to stay away from as much salt as you can, especially when you're sick, because it starts drying you out. So you just kind of season it very lightly, and then you drain the broth from the peels, okay? And you drink that. And it really works when you're feeling tired, even if you're not sick. Potato peeling broth works very well at a lot of other things, like if you have upset stomach, you've eaten something that maybe you shouldn't be eating, okay? And then we start feeling that funky feeling with it. You can do the potato peel. If you have an upset stomach, and I know that this isn't on the sheet here, but if you have an upset stomach and you go to bed, lay on your left side. If you lay on your right side, everything that you have eaten that day is being pushed down to your duodenum, to your pyloric valve, okay? And if you're pushing all of that food down there, it's like everything is rushing to try and get through there. And that's where you're going to end up with a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain, okay? So, left side, okay? If you lay flat, try to prop yourself up. So that, because if you're laying flat and you've eaten something really greasy or something fried, that sort of thing, it's going to start trying to come back up the way it went down. And that's not a very good thing. gastric reflux is huge, and a lot of people, what's the first thing that we do?
Run to the store.
We run to the store. We get everything that is on the pharmaceutical market to help with gastric reflux. Did you know that simply changing your diet can change the way that your body digests food? I am notorious because I had gastric reflux. That's like you're laying down and all of a sudden you feel like you're drowning. You start coughing really, really bad. And and then you want to take some Tagamin or what have you. And I've got some at the house in the medicine cabinet. And here's what I do. I keep it just in case, right? I haven't spent $30 on some medication, pharmaceutical medication, and because I had a gastric reflux issue. Well, since I've changed my diet, I have not had one episode. Not one episode. You
I just
too?
want to share something.
Yes.
They recently came out and said that for Prilosec or those types of medicines, you're only supposed to take them for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can cause depression.
Oh, look at that.
Really?
I was on that for months.
Wow.
Depression?
So they get you hooked on the Prilosec, right? So you stay on it, then they gotta give you a pill for your depression.
Yeah.
Right.
Then they gotta give you an antidepressant, right? Yeah. So
Something
it's a
that I
vicious
have
cycle.
learned about pharmaceutical medication, and I'm not speaking against the drug companies. For me, I have a choice, and I don't choose to take that into my body. But something that I have found that if you take a medication for one thing, then you look at all the different side effects, then you start taking it for something else. Then something else happens and you're taking it for something else. And before you know it, you're on 10 different medications when all you have to do is just change your diet. That's all you have to do is just change your diet. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. But one person at a time, right? One stomach at a time, one mind at a time. So, the potato peeling broth, hot mustard foot bath. Now, for those of us, Carolyn, she had the lavender foot bath. In fact, she was the first one to have the lavender foot bath. How did that work for you?
Oh, that was really nice.
That was? Okay. So, think about it with the hot water, the warm hot water, and putting hot mustard. Now, you don't take the packets like they give you in the restaurant, right? You don't do that. You take powdered mustard, hot mustard, and you can get it in powder form. I would suggest buying bulk, because buying bulk, it goes by weight, and you don't have to get the whole big thing. You just get a small amount, you're paying less money, and you're probably going to use it faster than you would a big can of it that you'll pay $8 or $9 for. So look in your bulk sections for a lot of your different herbs, teas, and that sort of thing, okay? So, foot bath. A compress to the throat or the chest. A compress, warm compress, could be, you can even put the hot mustard in the heat, in the towel that you use on your throat or on your chest. Mentholatum, peppermint, eucalyptus, any of those properties here would help to alleviate any sort of congestion. It would also help to soothe the achy, painful throat, that sort of thing, okay? So, and then we come to the fun one, enemas. And no, it's not colonic irrigation, and every time we say enemas, people get, ooh, you know, but it's a reality, okay? It is a reality. At the first sign of a cold, the first thing that we should do is, number one, go to bed. Make sure that we go to the bathroom and we do an enema, because what you are doing is you're washing out bad bacteria, okay? And then through all of the different teas and soups, broths that you take in, it helps to replenish natural bacteria. I would say 1 enema per day to help kind of rinse it out for the first 2 to 3 days. And after that, just see how your body works. You will start to feel so much better, because the bacteria that is making you sick is collecting in your colon. And so by rinsing it out, you are starting to get rid of all of that bacteria that's really making you sick, giving you that cold or the cough or even the flu. So enemas are very important, not to be confused with the colonics. Okay, that's something altogether different, and I'm on the fence with them. I've heard about colonics since the early 70s. That's how long they've been around. That one guy, George Hamilton, he swears by the colonics. He really does. And you look at him, and he's very well, I mean, he looks very good for his age, and he's got to be 80 or so. So I would say that if that's something that you want to consider, do your homework first. So yes, enemas as far as the onset of a cold. So the best thing to do, if you don't have anybody to care for you, go to bed, do the enema, go to bed, okay, and then see how you feel in the morning. If you're still feeling bad, get you some tea. Start pushing as much fluids as you can. And I don't recommend, when I say fluids, natural juices. Natural, not with the sugar. I'm talking, get a juicer, juice a carrot, throw a little water behind it, and drink it. Put some lime in, or little lime, maybe put some mint in it. It'll work for you, okay? I just don't recommend the sodas and all of the stuff that has sugar, the concentrates. You want to stay away from those. Another thing today that we are going to talk about is how do we stay hydrated when we have colds and we don't really necessarily want to drink water. We're hungry, but we're not really sure. We are going to make a watermelon jicama salad, okay, using all of God's fun little ingredients. And this is a good way to help us stay hydrated because you can eat a little bit of it. The jicama is a root vegetable which has healing properties in and of itself. Watermelon is just that. It's water, okay? Cucumber, again, it's mostly water, okay? So you want to try and take in these different ingredients to help keep yourself hydrated. And there is one thing that I have here that is raw sugar. If you are going to use sugar, make sure that it is raw, the turbinol raw sugar, okay? You can use honey. I don't advocate agave only because recently it's come out that some of the agave is really sugar. Yeah, a lot of sugar. So, in this recipe, I will be using the turbinol raw sugar. And if, you know, if it rattles, then it's good. But before I do anything, hand sanitation. That right there is the #1 defense for disease. They have on the market hand sanitizers, which are fine if they have 70% or more alcohol. Okay, if they don't, you could possibly be in trouble. For me, good old-fashioned soap. They have antibacterial. After a while of using the antibacterial, you build up, your skin builds up a resistance to the antibacterial agent that is in here. And this one is the benzoyl chloride. I don't think I said that right, but okay. So you want to maybe try not to use it as much. The best is some good old-fashioned bar soap, okay? Get your bar soap going on, and if you put a dry face towel into your soap dish, and after you wash your hands, you set the soap on that towel or that little washcloth, you'll never have the snot, the soap snot in your soap dish. Okay, and you won't be averse to wanting to use it. So I advocate the good old-fashioned bar soap. So after you get your hands clean, the other thing that you want to be careful of is if you have little snafus on your skin, which I do, got it at work. So in preparing this, I'm going to wear a glove over it because I don't ever wish to pass anything that I may have to someone else, okay? And another good thing that we should always remember is to pray about what it is that you're getting ready to do. If it is something that you are going to be taking into your body or that you are going to be putting it into someone else's body. Okay, always pray and ask the Holy Spirit to be with you. So, in our ingredients here today, I'm going to give you a card. And this is where you get to participate. On this card, you are going to write down the recipe. And if you like the recipe, then you will make it again. You'll have it written down for yourself. If you don't like the recipe, then pass it on to someone else. Or you can tear the card up. It's your choice, okay? But this way...
What about your live viewing audience?
For the live viewing audience, if you'd like to get a little card and a pencil or a pen, whichever, the beauty of this is it's in your handwriting. You can make little notes on the side like, ooh, or that sort of thing, or I don't think I'll use that one. You can use that for yourself, okay? And that's why I suggest that you do it yourself. Okay, so for this recipe, and I wrote it down here, okay, you want jicama. And for people who don't know what jicama is, this is what a jicama looks like. Somebody said to me, oh, that's what Hispanic people eat. No, this is what people eat. I don't know about a specific culture or not, but this is a jicama, okay? And so we're using the jicama. We also are going to be using watermelon. And we want equal amounts, or they're near about. This one jicama provided this much chopped. So you want it chopped kind of cubed. I kind of like to see different shapes in my jicama. I don't like it like all symmetrically, okay? I like it messy. So this one jicama created this much chopped. So, and we're also going to be using watermelon, okay? And a lovely young lady chopped this for me, and I'm just so grateful, so very grateful. And I taste it, and it's really kind of sweet. It tastes really good. So, then we are going to be using lime juice, which this is about a cup of lime juice, and this was approximately 7 small limes, okay? So 6 to 7 small limes, or 3 to 4 big limes, depending on what you can come up with. Then we have a 1/4 cup of mint, and when this is chopped up, you have to smell it to know what's what. So here it is. So you want about a cup of about a cup. You can cut this recipe in half, make it to a serving for 1, serving for 2. This is about a cup of fresh mint, which is like what we have right here, fresh mint. Some of us don't know what mint looks like, okay? Mint helps to break phlegm up as well. Then you want basil, which you want about this much, which is about a cup of basil. Again, you can decide how much of it that you want to use. Basil is so fresh, and so when it's like this, okay? So this is your basil, not to be confused with parsley. A lot of people confuse mint and parsley, or basil and parsley. What I would suggest is Google it when you go to the store, just to make sure. When all else fails, ask someone. And then the other is cilantro, okay? Cilantro is a very good diuretic, so it helps to flush out a lot of things that are in your system that you may not like, or that your system may not like. And this is our cilantro. I love cilantro, but I don't like cutting it up because it sticks to everything and it gets all over the place. And 1 cucumber, as I said, finely chopped, which this is just the right amount. And then you want about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of the raw sugar, okay? So we're going to get the bowl, our big bowl here. I love this instant stuff here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our jicama in there, okay? I didn't get my spoon. I need a spoon. Thank you. And then we'll put our watermelon on top of it, okay? Now, because of the fact that you've got, that this is kind of like a moisture salad, you don't want to work it too much or it'll go really soupy on you. And when it goes soupy on you, not so good. So then what I would suggest is that after you put your watermelon in, that you take and you sprinkle some sugar on the top of the watermelon, because the watermelon will help to start breaking the sugar down, okay, kind of liquefying it. Then I would put the cucumber. I didn't think that, well, this is making quite a bit here, okay. And then we add our herbs, our fresh herbs. And who's going to be the first one to taste it? Okay, so these are all of the different, your herbs, okay? The cilantro, the basil, and the mint, okay? And then on top of that, you're going to just pour your juice, your lime juice, okay? And then you're going to lightly turn it over so that you get, and you have to like dig down in the bowl and bring it up, dig down in the bowl, bring it up, because you don't want to slice the watermelon any more than it already is. Another good thing with this salad is you put it in the refrigerator and chill it for about 10 minutes. And just to keep the coolness, because when we're sick, for whatever reason, our throat is sore, we have a little funky cough, we feel achy. Sometimes when we eat something cool, it really helps. It helps tremendously. So, this is our watermelon, jicama watermelon salad. If I say it that way, then it's okay. So, and there's a lot of vibrant color, okay? It just kind of pops. Green, white, and red, it's great colors. And that tells me that this is going to be really good for my body. If you're not sick and you want a real quick something to take to a potluck, it's right here. This is a good thing, okay? So that is our salad. And do we have any questions about anything that I've talked about so far?
I got a little messed up on the ingredients.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought you said a 1/4 cup of mint, but then I think I got lost after that.
Yeah, I said what I used here was a cup to make this salad.
Okay.
Okay, but you can break it down for your
Gotcha.
use. Meaning, if it's just for you, I would only go with like 1/2 of a 1/4 cup. Okay, which is an 1/8, if I do my math right. I think it's like an 1/8 of a cup. If I'm making it for 4 people, I would use a 1/4. This right here will probably feed maybe a good 10 to 12 people based on, the size of the bowl. So this is one of those recipes where you make it according to how big you need it, okay? Did that answer? Yes.
So on the leaves, you put equal of mint, basil, cilantro, whatever it is.
Correct.
You use the same measurement.
Correct.
Proportions.
correct.
And the cucumber as well, too.
The cucumber is always, you can either, this was a whole cucumber.
Okay.
But if you reduce it to half or a quarter, you probably only want to use half of it, okay? You just, as I say, it's not this is not one of those salads that is an exact science. You use it, you put it together, these are the ingredients, you do according to how much, and you see, we use this bowl, and then these were cups, and you see what we ended up with. And I basically had based this on, okay, so, any other questions?
You're gonna dish some out?
Yes, we are. I'm going to dish some of this out while Trish is going to come up, and she's got some really nice information about some recipes. But I do want to say, if you are feeling bad, if you are getting some sort of cold, cough, flu, that sort of thing, avoid heavy foods, such as processed foods, fried foods, meats, dairies, sugar, drinking alcohol, smoking. Those are things that will harm your body and will put you in a state where your body is not being allowed to heal. So you want to be careful and avoid those things. Remember, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in perfect health, even as thy soul prospers. And I thank you for your time. Trish.
Thank you.
Great.
Come on down. I'm going to be dishing this out, okay?
Thank you. What a beautiful, I just got so lost in your talk and the vegetables that I even forgot that I was going to be up here in a minute, so. That was so special. I really appreciate that. So, well, we have a few fun things to do tonight on our natural remedies part, hands-on. So I know Louise mentioned quite a few things that we could be doing, and I really liked all the different teas and how you explained, what they're good for. I've never heard of potato peeling broth before. That sounds really good. The enemas, I liked how you mentioned, Louise, rinsing the body. That makes so much sense when you phrase it that way, so I appreciate it. So we're going to look at some simple remedies tonight. I should have asked if we want to take a stretch break or restroom break first. But, so that everybody good to go? Good to go, okay. So the veggies that we're going to be looking at tonight is the simple ones that we can get in our vegetable department or in the spice department of the stores. The main ingredients are the onion, garlic, ginger, and cayenne pepper. And the first thing we're going to look at tonight is the onion here. Get my little tray set up here. We'll talk about onion here first for a moment. Slide away. So one of the things that can be done for earaches, I remember when I was little and I'd have earaches, maybe other people remember that too, and it's like, oh, it hurt, didn't know what to do, and my mom did some really cool, well actually it was warm, she would warm a little bit of olive oil and put in there with cotton. And the best part, she'd stay with me and read to me. I think that was the best antidote. But recently, I learned a really cool thing with onions, is that cut it in half, and you can either steam it or put it in the microwave. You don't want to boil it because the healing properties would pull out of it, so we would lose that. So what happens is onion has drawing agencies in it. So putting it on the ear after it cools down, or put a little cloth between it, like a little washcloth, and like a little beanie hat, just kind of tuck it in there. Of course, you'll have the flat part laying against your head at that point. And that draws the inflammation out of it. If it's a real bad earache, sometimes the pussiness can be pulled out of it. We don't ever want to try to poke holes to drain our ears, but if Mother Nature does it, then that's really good. So this, the vegetables and the herbs, God put on this earth to aid in the service of man. And so one of the fun things that we've learned is how powerful the humble little onion is. So that's one of the things to do with the earache, is that you can steam it up and just wrap it. So we already talked about that. So here's another good thing to do with the onions is and especially for babies, because sometimes it's hard to, if you want to have something natural, you don't want to take them to emergency, just kind of wait. Well, maybe we should wait till morning and see how they are. You're in that kind of iffy stage. So then you can do something like this and see if that helps while you're waiting. So it's nice to have some of these things at the home, and most homes have onions in them. And, one of the things that I think is really cool, I'm waiting to try this on myself, is for a cough, for a bad cough. And I was hoping somebody would be really sick here tonight with a bad cough, so.
Nope.
Nobody's here with the.
Unless we go upstairs and find somebody.
So, to try it on. So I'm hoping, maybe some of you let me know if you've tried it, or if you know somebody that's tried it. So what you can do is just chop up a little bit of the onion, just kind of chop it up into just a small little bit of here. And you take a tablespoon, so that's really kind of about this much. And you can use less if it's for a baby. And so what you would do is get your little baggie, kind of set the little baby's foot in there. I wished I had a dolly when to put it in there. So, and then you just sprinkle a little bit of the onion in there. Put the baby's feet in there. So put their little leg and their feet in there. And then you just kind of wrap it up. And then put their little sockies on over it. And you can leave this on overnight, and it should stop coughing immediately. Just really halt it really fast.
Just from the onion?
Just from the onion, yeah, because of the pulling. So that's quite interesting. Of course, you'd want to do one for each foot. And so a person could do the same thing, is, just spread it out, put your foot in here. It's kind of hard to see white on white here. But just spread it out, put your foot on, wrap it up, put your sock on, and that should hold it in place. And of course, it stays on better if you're just going to go to bed anyway, but you could walk around in it, squish, 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 and the medicinal purposes, the factors would start working. So I'm anxious to hear, how other people find that, but isn't that simple to do? So
the live audience is asking, how's the salad?
Okay.
Delicious.
It's delicious?
I'm looking forward to trying that. So we have two things for the onion. We have an earache and coughing. So, and then we have the instructions there that we just chop it up, put our feet in it. And another one we're going to do is just two simple ingredients. We've heard Louise talk about honey and manuka, how healthy that is. But if you're going to use honey, that's not that medicinal or that expensive. And manuka I think is in New Zealand or Australia, where they have the tree where they get
My mother is a huge fan of manuka honey.
Yeah, I have some of that I use for like wounds and stuff, but for just for medicinal purposes, you want to get a good, this one is made pure. So it's strained, but you can get
Raw.
organic ones, so, yeah, this one is raw.
Usually raw, unfiltered. honey.
Yeah, this one is raw right here. And what they say is to get the real slow moving honey, that's the